Hello. Happy Sunday. Today is church day. I thought it would be an appropriate subject of the day to discuss forgiveness. Have church with me. There is a scripture in the Bible. I looked it up. Matthew 18:19 says again, truly I tell you that if two of you on the earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where two or three gather in my name, there am I with them. Wow. That's powerful to me. That's powerful. So is the subject of forgiveness. It's not just deep, or it might be complex, but it is powerful. To forgive or to ask for forgiveness. It's very powerful because throughout life, I thought I had to forgive a lot of people. I thought I just thought I was unjustly handled or treated in a lot of situations. So I came to terms that it's a process. I came to terms that forgiving is a real process. In perspective, really, actually, no one forced me to do anything. Honestly. In perspective, I wasn't actually forced to do anything for anybody. But I was lied to a lot. I mean, throughout life. And I was seemingly manipulated a lot. There were information withheld from me in a deceptive way. A few times. And it's always the closest people to you. is always the closest people to you. It always is. So you care about them. So, they so close to you that they know what to say to get your sympathy or response. They're close to you. So they'll lie in your face. And be manipulative. But like I said, I was never forced to do anything. I knew they were lying while they were lying. I knew they were deceptive, or found out later. I knew they were being manipulative while they were trying to manipulate me. I knew. I either knew or perceived it or just thought they were, and I wind up being right every time. But I did a lot of things for people close to me because I cared about them. And the times that I saw them lying in front of me, knew better, I did it because I cared about them. I didn't do it against myself. I did it because I cared about them. And I prayed after, because I went to God like, I know God. I know, and you know that I did this because I care, not because they're clever. People think they're clever. All I have to do is say this or that. But it's not clever, because I care so much that all they had to do was ask and tell the truth, and I would have gave it anyway. So the manipulation just was totally unnecessary. Everyone that's close to me knows that I give. Everyone that's close to me knows that I care. They know I care. They know I do. But what it does is, what they're not aware of, it exposes them. That's what makes it stupid. You're exposing yourself as a liar, deceptive manipulator. Not necessary. It wasn't even necessary to do. But what's inside of people is always what comes out. If they're a liar, they're gonna lie. If they're a manipulator, they're gonna manipulate. But on the same token, if you're a caring person, you're going to care of others. And if you love people, you're going to love them. You're going to show love for them. Even when they're not at their best. Even when they're at their worst, in fact. You can know they're acting out of their lower selves. You can know. Give anyway. Because it's not a loss. It's not a loss because you would give it if they would have just asked. So I would pray for them. And I know, and God knows, I did things just because I cared. God knows why I did it. And that's why being generous is associated with stupidity. They played you. You got hoodwinked. I always say, no, I didn't. I always say the same thing. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I knew. I just gave it to them because they wanted it so bad that they will come to someone that loves them so much and lie in my face. When it's totally unnecessary. It's okay. I'll just do it because I care about you. And the fact that you think you're clever, well, you'll just have to get your own karma. You don't believe in it. It's silly to think that you don't believe in karma when you going to people so desperate. You're in a desperate position that you have to lie for something. That is karma. You're not free. You're imprisoned by something. You're weighed down by something. Being in a state of desperation that you have to steal for it. That's not free. That's a state of desperation. A state of desperation is not free will. It's not God's will. So I already know they're motivated by, some lower place coming from impure thoughts. Is the first mistake. That's called a weakness. That means you're weak. It's not clever to be weak. That's pathetic. So in my strength and knowledge and knowing you're lying, that you're taking it as stupidity and weakness, when you're weak enough to be desperate to lie for what you want or need, that's weak. But sad when stuff like that goes over people's head. Seems simple, but they're out of their minds. When the basic, equation and knowledge is made so complicated, they have to come up with stories and lie and twist things and pray for you. And I forgive you. I know it was done from a weak place. I know that lies come from a very weak state of mind. Deceit comes from a very weak state of mind. Manipulating comes from a vulnerable, scary, fearful place. They have to do this to get help. They have to do something desperate and make up something desperate to ask for help. Just because they really want something or need something. I forgive that. I forgive that and I forgive that. Until they can grow. And feel strong enough to come out of desperate situation and feel like they have the free will that God gave us all. We're never stuck anywhere. We could learn and we could grow. And we can use our free will that God gave us. No one could take that away. Nothing and no one could take away what God gave you. God gives you a brain too. You use it for the wrong thing. People use their gifts. God gave gift of life. They use the gifts for wrong purpose. No purpose. They miss the purpose. It's not a mystery. It's not brain surgery. They just complicate life for themselves. God made it simple. He said, just trust me. Don't lean on your own understanding. Just a man. Just a human being. You didn't create yourself. God created you. Rely on Him. So I hope we all go through the process of being forgiving. Because people do things out of their weakness. So we could pray that God gives them a heart to grow and be strong, be a stronger person, not live in a state of desperation, succumb to all their weaknesses, develop all these bad habits. Forgive that. Forgive that. That human, so human side of us, of everyone we have that are not perfect. We're not perfect. We might succumb to things. We might succumb to even our own weaknesses. Everybody has some weakness. We have to forgive. We don't have to, but if we want to be forgiven for not being perfect, we should forgive that they're having a weakness. I've had to ask for forgiveness many times myself. I'm not perfect. Is just off the board. I don't. The Bible does not say that God created us perfect. Created us with a free will. I don't even think that word should exist because we are human. So, in all of our humanness, there is something that we're short of. All are short of the glory. All are short of something. We're all short of some weakness. And I remember I had to ask for forgiveness. I've apologized, asked people to accept my apology. I have had to ask my mother to forgive me. I confronted her as a teenager, and it was disrespectful to my mother. And later, as an adult, after getting married and having children, trying to live life, and all the pressures of being married with children, I had to ask her to forgive me for confronting her. I remember thinking she wasn't a perfect mother. And she wasn't. Mothering could have been her weakness. But, you know, I asked her to forgive me because it was very challenging being a mother. That's one of the most challenging things you could do in life. Parenting is. So when I realized that as an adult, I went to her and I asked her, please forgive me for thinking that she was confronting her about being a weak mother or not a perfect mother. I apologized. I sincerely asked her to forgive me. So, of course, mothers are forgiving. So, I got past a lot of things with people that I felt like I had to forgive. I felt like I had to ask for forgiveness. And I, a couple times, had to forgive myself because of the times I did things for people that was against my better judgment. I did it anyway because I cared about them. And I knew that's why I was doing it. I knew it was against my better judgment, but I knew why I was doing it. And I did it anyway because I felt like I could recover. And I did every time. I do every time. Because I realized deep inside that God gave me that kind of strength. And nobody could take that away. I knew that I would recover. But they're such a state of desperation. They need help so bad that I gave it so they could gain something from it, so they could feel like they gained something, even though they thought it was because they were being clever. Not realizing it was, lying and manipulating comes from a desperate place of fear. That desperate. You're scared you're not going to get what you need or want. So I forgive that. I forgive that. And I ask for forgiveness. When I offend somebody, if I ever offend anybody, please forgive me. God, forgive me. And ask God to forgive you and ask yourself to forgive you. Just pray. Talk to God like you're talking to me or a best friend or your father that loves you. Ask to forgive just the situation. Just remember forgiveness. Just remember it. At some point, everybody's going to need it or want someone to forgive them. No one goes unscathed on this earth. Be forgiving. Nobody's perfect. You're not. I'm not. Nobody. Forgive that. Just for yourself. Don't stay in a weak place. Be strong. Be strong enough to see that. Love and light.